My son-in-law walked in and turned it off. "Go to your room, old man. This living room is mine now." My daughter lowered her eyes. I stood up, picked up my keys, and left the house without saying a word. The next morning, very early, a young man in a crisp suit rang the doorbell. "Welcome to my channel. I share a new life story here every day. If you subscribe and like, it would be greatly appreciated. Now, let's get back to the story. Trust me, if you listen till the end, you're going to love it." That evening, the click of the remote echoed, and the family room fell into a silence so heavy it felt like a gunshot. I was sitting in my green velvet armchair, the same one I bought with my first Social Security check after my wife passed away 15 years ago. Fresh coffee was cooling on the side table. The smell of peach cobbler drifted from the kitchen. The news was playing softly on the television. This was my quiet time, when the joint pain eased a little and I could just breathe without serving anyone. The door slammed open like a storm had entered. I didn't look up. I knew who it was. Derek walked in as if the entire house belonged to him. Behind him, my daughter Lena carried shopping bags, shoulders drooping, eyes fixed on the floor, as though apologizing for taking up space. I didn't move. Derek stood right in front of the TV, blocking my screen. He let out that same nasal sigh he always did when he saw me doing nothing. He grabbed the remote, pressed the red button. Screen went black. "Go to your room, old man," he shouted. "I have to watch the game. The family room is mine now." The silence thickened. I could hear his short, arrogant breaths, as if shouting had bought him some kind of right. I slowly looked at Lena. She stood at the kitchen doorway, the shopping bag handles turning her knuckles white. Our eyes met. I was waiting for just one thing, the simplest thing in the world, for her to say, "Don't you dare talk to my father like that. This is his house." Lena lowered her head and adjusted the bags, as if something inside her had broken. That gesture was louder than any scream. Derek's shout and my daughter's silence, together they poured a cold, bitter clarity into me. Not anger, not humiliation, just an icy chill. 35 years working at the county recorder's office had taught me one thing: words don't matter, documents do. I stood up, my knees cracked. In that silence, the sound felt like an official stamp. Derek had already sprawled across my chair, unbuttoning the top of his shirt, drinking soda from my fridge without looking at me. In his world, I had long ago become furniture. I walked past him into my room, no slamming the door, no tears. I opened the bottom drawer of the dresser, took out the leather bank pouch, and from beneath it pulled out the keys and a thick file tied with a blue ribbon. My fingers ran over the papers: the original deed of purchase, the current deed of title, owner Jack. The paper was yellowed at the edges, but its strength was iron. In the mirror, I looked at myself: short white hair, glasses on a chain, linen trousers, navy blazer. I looked exactly like the kind old grandpa who packs cookies. That had been my greatest strategy. As long as grandma keeps feeding the wolves, they think they're kings. The moment the lid closes on the pot, the king's claws melt. I walked back into the family room. Derek had turned the sports channel up loud. Lena was washing dishes, voluntary silence. I walked toward the front door. My heels clicked on the hardwood floor. Derek glanced over, smirked, raised his soda can. "Going for a walk, Jack," he mocked. "Don't get lost at your age." I didn't reply. I locked the deadbolt. For a moment I looked at the house, the framed photo of the Savannah riverfront, the carpet vacuumed every week, the back of my son-in-law, the shadow of my daughter in the kitchen. The keys jingled in my pocket. The cold metal filled me with energy. I stepped outside and closed the door gently but firmly, like placing a full stop at the end of a sentence. The night air was cool, but I didn't feel cold. I took a deep breath, locked the gate from the outside, walked to the avenue and hailed a taxi. Grand Hyatt downtown. In the taxi, I took out my phone. My fingers trembled slightly, not from fear, but from power. I scrolled through contacts, found an old name: Andrew V. Sterling, attorney at law. "Jack, it's 9 o'clock at night. What happened?" "I've woken up," I said, watching the city lights. "I need your help. I have court tomorrow morning. It's about my mental capacity and my property. Talk to me. I need to evict 2 tenants. But you live with your daughter and son-in-law." "Exactly." Silence. He knew me. He'd seen how many titles I had rejected over the years. "What did they do?" He shouted. "Old man, the living room is mine now." My daughter stayed silent. I walked out, and I'm not coming back until they're gone. That's at least emotional abuse, but you don't want sympathy, you want the law, right? The house is mine. They've lived there rent-free for 4 years on my dime. I need a notice to quit. Served in person. I'll send my junior associate, Roman P. Cruz. Calm, professional, sharp suit. He'll deliver the message clearly. Perfect. Usually it's 30 days. Fine. And put a warning in the text: 24 hours to understand reality, and when they leave, back rent plus penalties will be collected. You're solid. I'm wounded, and a wounded man who knows his rights is dangerous. The taxi stopped. The doorman opened the door, more respect in 10 seconds than my son-in-law had shown in 10 years. "Luggage, just a wallet," I said softly, and the dignity I just took back. The room smelled of lavender and cleanliness. A big TV in front of the bed. I turned on my favorite channel and set the volume exactly how I wanted. I ordered soup and Cabernet, ate slowly. My thoughts were on the house, but now they were my own thoughts. I knew their morning routine. Derek wakes up late, irritable. Lena smooths his edges. I could already hear the doorbell in my mind, Roman's confident hand. This wasn't a tea party. This was the first bell of the law. I slept peacefully as if someone else had finally taken the wheel. I woke with the sun, showered, wore the same clothes, but with new posture. I went to Mr. Sterling's office. Signatures, dates, property details. Every stroke of the pen felt final. Roman's on his way, Andrew said. He'll be at your fence in 20 minutes. Perfect. I sat in reception. Even panic has a mother and mother-in-law to remind it of home. At 9:30 my phone vibrated, Lena's name flashing. I let it ring 3 times, then answered. Daddy, Daddy, for God's sake, some guy named Roman is here with papers. Derek is screaming. What is happening? Where are you? I held the phone away from my ear. Roman is the attorney's junior, I said calmly. Tell your husband to lower his voice, take the notice, read it out loud, and tell Derek the old man is not available for shouting today. But it says eviction in 30 days. Dad, have you lost your mind? Lena, for the first time in years I am completely sane. Read the paper, do what it says, the less shouting the better. I ended the call. The little red button gave me back the silence I used to get as a child when I turned off the bedside lamp. The door opened, Andrew looked over his glasses. Daughter, I nodded. Showtime has begun. Roman served the papers, signed and inventory attached. Now we wait. I sank into the chair. The vending machine coffee smelled like caramel. The wall clock whispered tick-tock. How did I spend 4 years, shrinking myself to the size of a footstool in my own home so I wouldn't upset their mood, eating the burnt edges of pie and leaving the middle for the king, wearing headphones to watch TV so I wouldn't disturb their conference calls, paying triple bills and staying silent. I took my pension statement out of my wallet, my lifetime savings, a few solid investments. The numbers stood like soldiers. These numbers said I could live, I didn't have to bow. Next printout, the down payment on their black crossover, bank transfers labeled family help. The phone vibrated again. Lena. I flipped it over. Then a text from Derek, come home, let's talk. I swiped the notifications away like brushing crumbs off a table. Andrew came in. I need something else, I said. Shut off the utilities. Which ones? The ones in my name. Fiber internet cable including the sports package, landline and Lena's supplementary card. Not cancel, suspend. I'll turn them back on when the house is mine again. He smiled. That'll be felt. Yesterday it hurt. Today it just registers. They're different. I took out a notebook. On a clean page I wrote the plan, legal complete, papers served, financial kindnesses terminated. Silence, no drama, just facts. The phone vibrated again. Lena typing long, panicked messages. I put the phone down. Today my silence was the answer. Any good clothing store nearby? Gallery Mall, 2 blocks away. I'm dressed like a grandpa, I said, looking him in the eye. I'm drawing boundaries today. I need a uniform. When you're calm, you're dangerous. I'm just returning to my original shape. Outside, the sun and dry air, I walked fast without looking back. My reflection in the windows, back straight, step firm. At the mall, a salesgirl named Gina helped me. I need a uniform, I said. Quiet, businesslike, I'm drawing boundaries today. She brought dark blue straight trousers, a crisp white cotton shirt, and a beige linen blazer. In the fitting room, the clothes fit perfectly. The trousers straightened my posture, the shirt crisp, the blazer tied everything together. Low-heeled leather shoes, tap-tap like a metronome. I put the old clothes in a bag and said, put these in the charity box. Let them serve someone else now. On the second floor in the restaurant, I ordered mushroom risotto and a dry white wine. Phone face down. 10 minutes later, a bank alert. $85 transaction declined, butcher shop, prime ribeye. I smiled a small, merciless smile. Immediately Derek's text, why isn't the card working? I replied, neither the card nor the trust is broken. Both ended yesterday along with your game. I savored the risotto, chewing every grain slowly. Paid the bill with my own card. It went through like an open door, back at the hotel. In the room, I took off my shoes, placed the keys on the nightstand. The jingle sounded different now. I put on the music channel and slept for an hour. The room phone rang landline. Your daughter is in the lobby. She wants to see you urgently. Tell her I'm coming down now. I washed my face, adjusted the glasses chain. In the mirror, the same man, but spine straight. Keys in pocket. The jingle was different now, like the bells of disciplined doors. I pressed the elevator button. In the lobby, Lena was pacing between the sofas. Blouse wrinkled, hair messy, dark circles under her eyes. She saw me, froze as if she'd walked into glass. Daddy, she took 2 steps and stopped by my eyes. What is all this? She said. Internet off, cable off, card off. Derek is losing his mind. Where are you? Come home. Just end this drama. Sit, I said, pointing to a chair. This is a respectable place. We'll speak calmly. She sat on the edge, twisting her hands. Daddy, let's talk like family. He was in a bad mood yesterday. He's apologized. Come, I'll make tea. Everything will be fine. Lena, I'm not angry. I've made a decision. The house is mine. You've lived there rent-free for 4 years. Vacate in 30 days. Starting today, utilities are zero. This isn't revenge. This is order, but he has to work. Calls, deadlines. You're ruining his reputation. He can work from a co-working space, a coffee shop, or his mother's house. Internet, cable, card, those were things I paid for. No longer. You are not my life's necessities. You became expenses I have now ended. She bit her lip. You're humiliating us. Everyone at the store was watching. Humiliation is being thrown out of your own family room. Eating the burnt edges of pie. Today no one is humiliating anyone. Today everyone pays their own bill. We were saving. In 4 years you should have saved nearly $100,000 just on rent and bills. Where's that money, Lena? Her eyes darted away, shoulders collapsed. He said it's invested in business, investments, he'll show later. Tomorrow at 10 a.m. Mr. Sterling's office. You're both invited. We'll see what that business is. You hired a lawyer against your own family. I called the rules. Family is respect, not old man. Go to your room. The living room is mine. Tomorrow we talk rules. She started crying. If we leave, he'll divorce me. He says if he doesn't get your house, he won't stay married. I leaned forward and placed my hand on her twisted ones. Lena, if your marriage is tied to my square footage and bank account, then this isn't family. It's hostage taking. And you're the hostage. She pulled her hands away as if burned. You've become old and cruel. I became an adult at 68, you're 40. You were supposed to get there first. Silence. In the lobby, teacups clinked softly. Just turn the internet back on. We can't survive this. No internet, but your voice works. Tomorrow at 10. Today, silence. She stood, adjusted her purse, searched my face for the old softness, found none. Walked out quickly. I watched her go, then exhaled. I climbed the stairs. In the room, I opened the laptop. Email from Andrew, notice served. Derek's corporate lawyers confirmed receipt. He's pushing, CC'd the director. Could face penalties. Tomorrow 10 a.m. negotiations, both coming. I closed the lid. Haste is fear's sister. The king of the living room is about to find out what his kingdom actually costs. The next morning dawned crisp and unforgiving, the kind of Savannah light that cuts through curtains like a blade. I woke at 6 a.m. not from habit, but from a restless energy humming in my veins, like the low buzz of a storm gathering offshore. The hotel room felt temporary now, a neutral ground where I could rebuild myself piece by piece. I showered longer than usual, letting the hot water wash away the ghosts of yesterday's silences. In the mirror, the man staring back had eyes like polished steel, no more the soft grandpa with cookies in his pocket. I dressed in my new uniform, the crisp white shirt, dark trousers, beige blazer. It wasn't armor, but it felt like it. Breakfast in the lobby cafe, black coffee, eggs over easy, toast with marmalade. I ate methodically, flipping through my notebook. The plan was simple, facts over feelings. But emotions, they swirled beneath the surface, a tide pulling at my resolve. Regret for Lena. My only child, the girl who'd once drawn me crayon houses with Daddy's castle scrawled across the top. Anger at Derek, the parasite in a cheap suit who turned my home into his fiefdom. And something sharper, fear. Fear that this confrontation might shatter what little family I had left, or worse, reveal that I'd been blind to deeper rot. By 9:30, I was at Andrew's office, the air thick with the scent of leather-bound books and fresh ink. Andrew greeted me with a firm handshake, his eyes scanning my face. You look ready, Jack, but remember this is chess, not checkers. Derek's type, they bluff big when cornered. I nodded, settling into a conference room chair that overlooked the bustling street below. The clock ticked like a heartbeat, each second amplifying the suspense. What if they didn't show? What if they did and it erupted into screams? My phone lay silent on the table, no texts, no calls. The quiet was deafening, a vacuum sucking in all my doubts. Had Lena convinced Derek to come peacefully, or was he plotting some counterstrike, leveraging his business investments like a hidden ace? At exactly 10 o'clock, the door buzzed. Roman, the sharp-suited junior, ushered them in. Lena entered first, her face pale as parchment, eyes red-rimmed from a night of tears or arguments, or both. She wouldn't meet my gaze, clutching her purse like a shield. Behind her, Derek stormed in, his usual swagger replaced by a coiled tension. His tie was askew, shirt untucked at the edges, and his face flushed with barely contained rage. He looked like a man who'd spent the night pacing a dark house, cursing at flickering screens and dead outlets. Jack, Derek snarled, slamming a folder onto the table before even sitting. What the hell is this? Eviction. Cutting off everything, you think you can play games with us? Andrew cleared his throat, his voice calm as a judge's gavel. Mr. Hargrove, please sit. This is a negotiation, not a battlefield. We're here to discuss terms. Derek dropped into a chair, glaring daggers at me. Lena slid in beside him, her hand hovering near his arm as if to restrain a wild animal. I sat straight, hands folded, letting the silence stretch like a taut wire. Emotions crashed over me, pity for Lena's trapped expression, disgust at Derek's entitlement, but I held firm, waiting. Let's start with the facts, Andrew said, sliding copies of the notice to quit across the table. The property at 214 Willow Lane is solely in Mr. Jack Thompson's name. You've resided there rent-free for 4 years, with all utilities and expenses covered by him. Yesterday's incident constitutes grounds for eviction under emotional distress and property rights. You have 30 days to vacate. Derek laughed, a bitter, barking sound that echoed off the walls. Emotional distress, because I told the old man to move. This is bullshit. We've been family. I've fixed things around the house, plumbing, yard work. That's worth something, fix things. I spoke for the first time, my voice steady but laced with ice. You mean the leaky faucet you botched so badly I had to call a professional? Or the yard work that left my rose bushes dead? No, Derek, you've taken 4 years of free living, and what have you given? Shouts and silence. Lena finally looked up, her eyes pleading. Daddy, please, it was a bad day. Derek's under stress. His business is complicated. We can work this out, turn the utilities back on, and we'll pay you back. Promise. The word business hung in the air like smoke, igniting the suspense I'd felt building all morning. Andrew leaned forward, tapping a pen. Speaking of business, Miss Thompson Hargrove, we've reviewed the bank transfers. Over $120,000 from Jack's accounts labeled family help and investments. Care to explain where that money went? Derek shifted, his face paling. Lena glanced at him, confusion flickering in her eyes. Investments, Derek said it was for the startup, the app thing, right, honey? He swallowed hard, avoiding her gaze. Yeah, it's in progress, tech takes time. Seed funding, you know. Andrew opened a laptop, projecting a screen of financial records I'd quietly gathered over the years, transfers, receipts, unexplained withdrawals. These investments traced to personal accounts, luxury purchases. A Rolex, trips to Vegas, even a down payment on a boat registered in your name only, Mr. Hargrove. No business filings, no LLC. This looks like embezzlement, not entrepreneurship. The room froze. Lena's hand dropped from Derek's arm, her face crumpling in slow motion, shock, betrayal, heartbreak washing over her like a wave. Derek, you said, you promised it was for us, for our future. He exploded, jumping to his feet. This is a setup. You snooped in my stuff, old man. That money was a gift. Family helps family. A gift. I rose slowly, my voice rising with controlled fury. Gifts don't come with insults. Gifts don't turn a father into a servant in his own home. You squandered my savings on your vices, and my daughter paid the price in silence. That's not family, that's theft. Tears streamed down Lena's face now, her body shaking. How could you? All those nights I defended you, made excuses. And you were lying, using Daddy's money for what? Gambling, that boat. I never saw a boat. Derek's bravado cracked, his shoulders slumping as the truth unraveled. It was supposed to be quick wins, investments that would pay off big. I was going to surprise you, babe, make us rich, Andrew interjected smoothly. Mr. Hargrove, we can pursue legal action for fraud, or we can settle. Vacate the property in 72 hours, not 30 days. Return any remaining assets from those investments, and Jack might consider not pressing charges. The suspense peaked, the air thick with unspoken threats and raw emotions. Derek looked cornered, eyes darting like a trapped fox. Lena buried her face in her hands, sobs breaking the tension. I felt a pang deep, aching for her. She was my blood, caught in the crossfire of her own poor choices. Fine, Derek muttered, finally defeated. We'll go, but you're a cold bastard, Jack. No, I said softly, meeting Lena's eyes. I'm a man who finally remembered his worth. Lena, you can stay if you choose, but not with him. Not like this, she hesitated, the room hanging on her decision. Emotions swirled, love, loss, liberation. Slowly she stood, wiping her tears. I'm sorry, Daddy, I need time, but I'll help pack. And Derek. We're done, he stormed out, the door slamming like thunder. Lena lingered, hugging me fiercely, the first real embrace in years. It was messy, tear-soaked, but real. As Andrew wrapped up the paperwork, I felt the weight lift. Not victory, but peace. The house would be mine again, quiet and whole. And maybe, just maybe, my daughter would find her way back, not as a tenant, but as family reclaimed. That evening back at the hotel, I watched the sunset over the river, keys jingling in my pocket like a promise. The story wasn't over, but for the first time I held the pen. 3 days passed, 3 nights when sleep came only in broken pieces. The hotel room had started to feel like home, but my heart was still being pulled toward 214 Willow Lane, like an old wound that still throbbed. On the 4th morning, Andrew called early. Jack, get ready. They're clearing out the house by this afternoon. Roman and 2 witnesses are going with you. You should be there too. This is your house. You need to see the final moment with your own eyes. When I hung up, my hands were shaking. Until now, everything had been papers and phone calls. Today I would stand in front of the house where I had carried my wife over the threshold for the first time, where Lena took her first steps, where Derek had called me old man and thrown me out of my own living room. Today that door would be mine again, or perhaps something else would be lost forever. At 2 o'clock I stood in front of the house. 2 gleaming moving trucks were parked on the street. My old lawn boxes were overflowing with Derek's shoes, Lena's clothes, the broken pieces of their shared life. Lena stood at the doorway, her face exhausted, eyes swollen. When she saw me, she lowered her head. Derek came storming out from inside, dragging a large suitcase. When he spotted me, he twisted his mouth as if to say something, but Roman stepped forward and showed him the papers. Derek went silent. I walked inside. The emptiness echoing within those 4 walls cut through me like a knife. My green velvet armchair was gone. Where the TV used to be, only a loose cable hung on the wall. In the kitchen, Lena's childhood bowl, the one she had used since she was little, lay shattered on the floor. I stopped. Lena came up behind me. Her voice trembled. "Daddy, that chair, Derek said it was old. He sold it." Darkness flashed before my eyes. The chair my wife had sat in before she died, the chair where I had sung lullabies to Lena in my lap, it was now in some stranger's living room. I turned around. Lena stood before me, wringing her hands. Can I stay?" she asked softly. "I don't want to be alone. Derek has left. He said he'd leave me if he didn't get the house. Now he really has gone." She started crying. I stepped closer. My heart wanted to hug her, but something inside held me back. "Lena," I said, "this house is yours too, but it's not just a house anymore. It's the last piece of my self-respect. If you come back, you come only as my daughter. No excuses, no silence, no more lies." She kept nodding. "I promise, Daddy, just give me one chance." She took my hand. Her palm was ice cold. In that moment it felt as if a 15-year-old death had happened all over again, and in the same instant a new birth. Derek shouted from outside, "Lena, hurry up, the movers are waiting." Lena shook her head. "I'm not going." Derek's face turned so red it looked ready to burst. He took 2 steps forward. Roman raised a hand and stood between us. "Mr. Hargrove, the property has been vacated. You have no further rights here." Derek glared at me. There was hatred in his eyes, but beneath it fear. "You one old man," he muttered, then turned and walked away. The truck door slammed shut. The sound of the engine faded into the distance, like a poisonous chapter of my life closing forever. Silence fell, only Lena's quiet sobs and the sound of my breathing. I took the keys from my pocket, the old key that once used to shine in my wife's hand. I locked the door from the inside, then opened it again, then locked it once more. Each time the jingle sounded like an old wound finally healing. Lena came and stood beside me. "Daddy will get the green chair back. I'll save the money myself." I placed my hand on her head. "We'll get a new chair, green velvet. This time we'll both sit in it, you on one side, me on the other. And the TV remote, it will stay between us." She smiled, the first real smile in years. I smiled too. There were tears in my eyes, but now they didn't taste salty, they tasted sweet. That evening the two of us made tea in the kitchen. I sat in my old spot and turned on the TV. I set the volume exactly how I liked it. Lena sat beside me and rested her head on my shoulder. Outside, the sun was setting. Golden light spread across the river. I placed the keys on the table. They no longer jingled. They just lay there, quiet, at peace. The house had come back to me, and perhaps so had my daughter. The drama wasn't over. It had only just begun a new chapter, in which an old man became a father again, and a daughter finally learned that a home isn't kept by keys, it's kept by respect.